before we start with the serious questions, I have to ask, how can one be the best of the best of the best? I said 3, right?
Best of the best of the best of the best of the best. How
The
can you be?
bestest.
Once we figure out how, we'll let you know. I don't know.
Come on, I thought you knew. You wrote a song about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not about us.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, okay, you had 3 albums before Ultrapower, even though it has not been officially released. And those were independently released.
Yeah.
So what's the difference with Ultrapower now?
Well, this is the first time we've gone to, well, not the first time, but the first out of the independent albums we've done that we've actually went into a studio and worked with a producer. So we went down to Michigan and worked with Josh Schroeder for this one. And it's funny because he's mostly known for like Lorna Shore. So like the most extreme, like brutal, whatever, deathcore, death metal type stuff. And we just thought it would be funny to, see what that would be like if we, as like a traditional sort of power metal-y type band go down there and just see what happens. And he was a lot of fun to work with. We got along really well. I think that's really important when you're working with someone. And yeah, we're really happy with the results.
Yeah, although my question was the difference, but I like that you went to the production because I wanted to ask. So, first of all, how did you approach him? As you said, he's used to be working with core bands. And then comes Striker with this 80s vintagey or whatever sound. So, what's the deal? How did you convince him that, hey, let's work with this album?
It's funny,
You're
it was
trying
easy.
something?
It was easy. We wrote him an email and said like, "Hey, we thought this would be a fun thing," and he was immediately like, "Yeah, sounds great." So I think with a lot of people who are into metal, especially if they're a little bit older, um,
Hold on. What do you mean a little bit older? I am 48.
I mean like my age even,
Okay.
people who grew up when there was like, I guess I don't know, maybe that's not the right way to put it, but people who grew up with sort of more of a classic metal presence. Like I feel like nowadays, like kids who were born like in the 2000s who are like 23 now, which sounds crazy,
Yes.
but like their exposure to metal is like they just don't even know like Judas Priest or something. They'll just be like, I don't know who that is. I've heard of them, but I've never listened to them, which
That's
seems so crazy to me. It's like anybody born even 10 years before that, I feel like is for sure knows who Judas Priest is. But yeah, it's just interesting because I feel like that sort of that older group of metal people, they have like it's like you grew up with like classic rock that your parents showed you and then that led you into heavy metal, and then once you got too extreme, so you're like, okay, now I'm listening to death metal, and then like whatever's next. um but yeah, so I think like for a guy like Josh, he definitely has like listened to plenty of classic metal, so he knows what it's all about and is a fan. He's not like completely foreign to it. It's like if you went to like I think maybe like a 20-year-old producer right now who was like only doing metal, but was like has only started listening to metal at gent music,
oh
and they
boy.
just might have no idea, right? Like, so yeah.
Although what I get from what you just said is at some point we need to stop talking about like that, like old men, right? People change, people grow up. We have different generations, and we should be thankful for that because otherwise we wouldn't have a successful Kickstarter campaign, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, we should go move away from music genres or styles, or even say, why you don't know Judas Priest? That's fine.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You have the resources to go there and educate yourself. So hopefully you can do that, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what we were thinking, you know, like um working with Josh, it's kind of interesting.
Mhm.
So he was, you know, at the same time, there was a few bands that were working, you know, he had just finished mixing their music or they were just in the studio. So he's still kind of in contact with them and you know, just, you know, sometimes you have to go back to the producer and say, "Hey, we need like the stems for this song or whatever," that kind of thing. But yeah, and he mentioned to a couple like it's like some of the like more extreme bands. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we know Stryker." Like you know, like I remember listening to this song by Stryker whenever, and it was just like, "Oh, that's funny." Like, um, so guys in those bands, like the really extreme deathcore and stuff like that, still really like that style. You know, it's like if you're just like a fan of music in general, I think if you're in a
Absolutely.
band, so
Yes,
yeah.
I agree. Did you have the album, everything ready to go and just went to the studio and record and produce that? Or did you make arrangements, changes, additions?
Yeah, so we went in with like 70-ish ideas or like sort of concepts for songs, and then while we were in the studio we kind of all had like our favorites, and then we looked at those and then we talked with Josh and kind of figured, okay, well, this is a good, you know, this is maybe too many similar songs, so which one of these songs isn't is not maybe not as strong, and then we can put something different in there. So it was fun to have a third party because it's pretty easy when you're like self-producing your own music to just have like an echo chamber of, you know, you don't really have someone on the outside being like the voice of reason for some of the choices. So it was really nice to have that.
So how many songs did you have and how many songs you have in Ultrapower?
Yeah, so we went in with like probably around 70 ideas and then we came out with 11 for the album.
Okay, good. And as you said, everything was ready before you start the Kickstarter campaign, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, so when we started the Kickstarter, in the past we've done like pre-orders
Mhm.
that just through our own like web store and stuff, and we just decided that this time maybe we'd had some friends in bands do um Kickstarters, and they were like, if you guys are going to do it, you should do it like this, and we took a look at how they did it, and yeah, anyways, it was really successful, so we're pretty happy with that.
So what is the main difference between a pre-order campaign and a Kickstarter campaign? Is it only the stretch goals?
Yeah, I think like there's this the stretch goals, and then it's sort of like when we were doing the pre-orders before, it was essentially like a Kickstarter,
Mhm.
but we were just calling it a pre-order because we do like the, you know, everybody who does the Kickstarter gets their name in the vinyl sleeve and in the CD sleeve, and some bonus perks like that, and then there's the stretch goals too. So we didn't quite make it to the end. We were really hoping that, you know, I don't know, it was a long shot, but we were like, man, it'd be cool to do like the synthwave, just you send it out to, you know, whoever we can who can do like the synthwave remixes, and that would be really cool because we're really into that stuff. But you know, maybe we'll do a song or two.
I was looking for the vinyl upgrade, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think we will still do uh special edition vinyls. And so everybody who got the Kickstarter will still get like the special edition vinyl and the special edition CDs. So
Will you have both the CD and the vinyl available, of course, after you just send it everything to everyone, to the backers? Will you have it available for the rest of the world, let's say?
yeah, I think we're gonna do like a regular uh pre-order type thing starting in December for just like, you know, if people just want the CD, they don't want to have their name in it and all that kind of thing. So it'll be available um sometime in December for some pre-orders for just that, you know, the basic stuff.
And will you have, I'm not sure if I called it named this correctly, but I think there is a late pledge open period. So will you have that too, where people can maybe add more add-ons or something else?
For the pre-order?
For the Kickstarter, yes.
Oh, sorry, I'm not sure.
So usually when they have a Kickstarter campaign, then they have a late pledge period where people can still change their pledge, add more stuff.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing, so maybe I'll have to look into that.
Okay,
First time on Kickstarter, so
yeah, I'm slowly learning by backing other campaigns, but hey, you know as much as you know. You said you mentioned the bonus tracks. There is a stretch goal for the CD for the bonus tracks. Will those be Death Wish and what was the other one? And Strange
yeah,
Love?
we've got Death Wish, Strange Love, and then we have a third one that we never released. So we're gonna add that in there too.
Okay, that's cool. And the band has a new guitarist, correct?
A new guitarist?
Yes, guitarist.
Sort of.
Okay.
Sort of. So, Simon, he was in the band previously. So, our original guitar player, Chris, had left the band, and then Simon came into the band. I can't remember. This must have been 2016 or something, 2016, 2017. And then Chris came back. And then when Chris left again, Simon is back again. So he's sort of new, but also, but anyways, it's his first album with us for sure.
So was he involved in the making of the album?
Yeah, yep, yeah.
And how long did that process take? How long did you work on Ultrapower?
Well, kind of since like 2018, pretty much, because we did, just writing so much, and then it's funny though, like Best of the Best of the Best, that song, we wrote that like pretty much maybe like a month before we went into the studio.
Okay.
Something like that. It was just one of those, if you're always writing and getting ideas, and some of them are just, they just work. So it's sort of like that one really worked for us, and we're just like, okay, sick. Throw out some of the songs that we wrote, 5 years ago, and we'll go with this one instead.
Yeah, that was a cool, and the video is very, very cool. It seems like you had a lot of fun filming that.
Yeah. Any excuse to get on jet skis.
So we talked about having a producer this time, and you said, and it's interesting for me to hear that it was easier to work with a producer, or I'm trying to see what is easier for you, producing your own music or having someone else to do that.
It's kind of like it's hard to say. It's definitely easier to have someone else do it, especially like someone there to press record and like that kind of thing. Because doing it ourselves and like putting all the work into the editing and the everything that goes into recording an album, it's just like it's so much work. And it was kind of nice to go to a studio and have someone just be like, I already know what works and how to do it and all this stuff. It's like we don't, because I mean, a lot of the stuff we do as an independent band, we kind of just learn as we go.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like right now we're doing that with like the music videos. So we're doing the music videos ourselves, and just because we don't have like a label budget for our music videos, so we kind of have to figure it out on our own. And there's a lot to learn, and it's nice to have a professional sometimes, so you just can sit back and let them do what they can do.
I don't think record labels give big budgets nowadays. I'm not sure if they give any budget at all. They just lend money to bands, and they bands hope to pay the record label back after the sales, right? So,
Yeah.
man, I don't know. Even though the paint is still wet for Ultrapower, do you see the band moving forward, following the same approach, like a Kickstarter and so forth? What is your experience after completing that?
Yeah, it was a really positive experience. I mean, we're still now it's sort of like crunch time with getting all of the stuff ready so that we can, getting vinyl printed and all that stuff. It's like it's lots of work, and that's the type of thing that like a record label would normally do. They would do all of that stuff so that you wouldn't have to. Sometimes, depends, but yeah, and then like with the music video budget, like we had music video budgets from Napalm Records when we were with Napalm Records, but they weren't crazy. You know, it was a couple $1,000, which is okay, but I know that some bigger budget music videos can cost like $30,000.
Oh yeah.
If you want like the big crane camera and all that stuff, it's just like, you know. And I think when we were with Napalm, they were really like, just do a green screen video, and we were like, no, we don't want to do a green screen video. So.
How can you ride a jet ski on a video screen, on a green screen?
Yeah, it's like yeah, with that's sort of like the approach that we have now for the music videos, is just like, it's an excuse for us to do something fun.
Right.
And I mean, I think in general, like the impact that music videos have is a lot less than it used to be.
Sure, for sure.
It's almost like it's not as important as your Instagram reels or whatever, you know.
Was it easy to secure the factory to print to cut the vinyl? I mean, how did you know how many vinyls to order, for example, before completing the Kickstarter campaign?
Well, we haven't yet. We haven't ordered them yet. That's how.
Okay.
But we have. It's gonna be pretty close. It's gonna be a tight thing, but we just have to. There's a company here in Canada that we work with that the turnaround time on vinyl is a lot better than it used to be. Like I think it was during and before COVID, it was like crazy, but nowadays they have like a pretty quick turnaround. I think maybe a few more vinyl pressing plants have opened so they can actually crank them out.
I didn't want to stress you out. So the video for Circle of Evil is ready, correct? The video for Circle of Evil, it's ready to go, then be released on October 31st.
Yeah, I'm editing it right now.
And this is why the video is lagging, man. If you are doing your video.
Oh no, I'm not right now, but
I'm joking.
Yeah,
do you have more videos on the way or not? This will be the last one.
Yeah, like we would like to do a music video for as many of the singles as we can, but I think it depends if we can figure out an idea and a location and all that stuff. It's just like, it's kind of a lot of work to get that all figured out, but it is pretty fun. So we've got another song coming out. I'm not sure exactly when. We still have to figure out. That's the nice part about being independent. We can just decide whenever we want to, like,
Yep.
All right, now let's put a song out. But yeah, the next one is a very like it's a very 80s, like what would you call it? I'm trying to think of like a movie montage type something that comes to mind would be like do you know the song No Easy Way Out by what's his name?
You're challenging, man.
I can't remember.
But that's fine.
anyways, it's a good one. This one has saxophone on it, so.
Oh, okay. Okay. Touring plans. What can we expect? You have Power for September of next year. How is the rest of the 2023, if there is any space for that, and 2024?
Yeah, we're looking to hopefully get back to Europe next year, and then also do some more extensive touring in North America. So there's a lot of places in the States that we haven't been, especially like the eastern side of the States. It's like so jammed in there with big cities, and there's so many of them we haven't actually been to. So we'd love to get over there. And yeah, like I said, Power. So probably we'll try and do that side of the US, sort of around there. And then I'm sure we'll hit the West Coast at some point as well. But
so
yeah, we're still
expecting Striker in Chicago around September.
Yeah, we should probably be around there. We're working on another show that I can't probably talk about yet, but we will definitely be in Chicago next year.
Okay, I think I understand. Last question. You have the Striker podcast. What are you doing with that? I mean, what is your just an outlet for you guys? You are muted. You are muted, Dan.
In between.
Now I can hear.
Oh, did that cut out again?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you're back. Oh, nice. Okay, so where are we?
Your answer about the podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so like I was saying, the podcast is just something for fun that we like doing. You know, we're into listening to podcasts, so we're like, hey, we like listening, so why don't we do it also? I don't know.
That sounds like a good excuse.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun, and we get a pretty consistent. It's not a ton of listeners, but there's a consistent, maybe like 100 to 150 people who tune in, when we put them out there. So it's not any kind of earth-shattering thing, but it is fun, and I think when people do listen to it, they have a good time because we are kind of weird guys. So
everybody is weird. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Dan, thank you very much for your time. I'm waiting for my vinyl copy.
Yes, sir.
We will see you here in Chicago live.
Oh, sorry. When or you will?
We will.
Oh, you will. Okay. Damn internet! There's too much snow on the wires, man.
Oh yeah, and I guess it's also my Greek accent that does not help the sound moving through the stream. Thank you very much.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me on, and we'll excited for you to hear the rest of the album.
Absolutely.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. See you.